the energy of bringing everybody together, all as one group. We're here for the veteran camp. You saw some of the rookie camp. So to see that part come together, I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see some of the mentoring from, veterans to some rookies. I'm also looking forward to seeing some of the rookies latch on to some. I think that's a two-way street. But all in all, it's a big passing emphasis as we go today, but work some situations, and we're ready to get rocking. So with all that said, glad to open up to you guys to hit some questions as we're getting started.
Hey, Dan, in terms of, obviously we kind of get the gist of OTAs, but for the team as a whole, what's your kind of goal when you get through these 3 weeks for what you want to see, what kind of progress?
Yeah, and I think number one, big playbook, obviously, to put in, and then little bits of it as you're going. And so, did some at veteran camp, did some with the rookies, and so this is an extension of that. In addition to, I don't think it's ever too early, Ben, to start on some situations. Here's a 2 minute at the half. Here's all the ones that come up. So we'll do that as often as we can. By nature, the OTA is more of a passing camp, and that's where the emphasis will be. And then in training camp, there'll be some shifting on that. But I'm looking for efficiency, I'm looking for speed, and really just the detail that's going into the calls.
And just specifically at wide receiver, I think we kind of have a sense of what Terry McLaurin is, but with the younger guys like Jahan and Diami, now Luke joining in, how do you kind of see that group, and what did you, with the two guys who were holdovers, what did you see from them last year?
Yeah, what's fun about this is we want to get as many reps as we can, so you may even see it 7-on-7 today. We'll have two fields going at the same time. And the purpose behind that in a 7-on-7 setting is to get more reps for everyone. And the more you see, the more that you go. And I think as you're installing a new system, that's an important piece of this, just time on task and reps of it. So, but you're right, guys like Terry, who you've seen, and the work ethic, what it is. So these are some cool moments to see what people can do, and then it's our job to find what special traits do they have, and then see how we can feature them.
And then you brought up some of the veterans and being the rookies. When you have guys like Ertz and Eckler and all that, what do you hope that they start to impart to the young guys starting now?
Yeah, I think first off is these are the standards, that we want to, practice with. And so that was a discussion that they had all together beginning yesterday, and some things, this is how we do business here. But if you don't have to look too far to watch their practice habits, how they do things, follow a process or a routine, that's what I'm looking for from those guys. They have to get themselves ready, but by just doing what they do, that also, can be a multiplier.
And how about now from Jaden being with the vets and coming off the rookie minicamp?
Yeah, I think number one, you can see how hard he worked to get the system down and in place, and so that was evident through the camp. And so I'm excited for everybody else to see that, to see the work ethic that goes into something like this, because once you see the quarterback play in the position and the plays, see that kind of detail that he put in a short amount of time, I think it'll be pretty obvious for the guys watching.
You've been through this before. When rookies now go with the vets, what do you see from the rookies? Is it a wide-eyed look? What goes on?
Yeah, because I think we've all heard the term be a pro. Well, they don't even know that yet, and so that's our job to help educate them on all the small details that it goes. I think at the end, man, what are you looking for? Competing, of really playing fast. And so I was clear to them to say, you're not sure if you're not going fast. Are you slow or you don't know? And I said, that's okay. I'd rather you go full speed to make some mistakes. And we had a good visit yesterday with some of the rookies. Questions help, and I showed him an old clip of Brett Favre, and he was talking to a group, and Holmgren was up there, and he was talking about nickel defense. They went to dime, and he was asking Todd Detmer, what's nickel? And Todd was like, you don't know? And he's like, no. He's like, that's just to take a linebacker off to put another DB in. He goes, that's it? And so as simple as it is, when you're coming from somewhere new as a rookie, my push for them was ask the questions. We got a whole army of people here to help them and get there. And so over these weeks ahead, this is their developmental time, and we're not going to miss a step of it.
And for you personally, you're back as the HC. These months, these weeks, how has it affected the way you do your job? I mean, how much are you enjoying this process again?
I'm having a blast, and that's why days like today, a first of bringing everybody together, I have real appreciation for it. And it doesn't take long to be around some of the people here to say, man, I'm proud as hell to be their coach just by what I've seen so far. And so that's what I'm looking forward to as we're getting started today.
What's the process of installing the offense, and how much can you accomplish, each day?
I think it's a more of a passing emphasis. So what we do is we do some runs and some blitzes, at a jog-through pace, so we can get as much of that as we can, knowing that a lot of the on the field portion is going to be pass emphasis. So we kind of split it into two ways, and then systematically put it all the way through 9 OTAs, through 3 practice at minicamp. So we just want to make sure we're hitting the right amount at the right time, but a lot of situations to cover so far.
And how does that work with Jaden in terms of, he said Like, does he say, I'm ready for this, or this is too much, or how do you kind of go about figuring out what he's comfortable with and at what pace?
Can you repeat the last piece of it?
Yeah, like how do you figure out, how to get him where you guys need him
Oh,
to go?
right on. Well, I think reps, that's where the main thing is. How do we have reps for this? And so if we know that we need extra reps, that's what we do. And so that's part of why we have 2 spot drills where we get extra people to do that.
What intrigued you about Frankie Luvu when you signed him, and how do you kind of see him fitting into the defense?
The question was regarding Frankie, and I thought first things first, I saw, man, like really aggressive play. This was a fantastic blitzer and hitter, and we really wanted to make sure like our identity was a real part of that. And so Frankie represented that. We saw it on the tape. We saw how physical he was, the tackling, the blitzing, and so it was very clear to say how he would fit into what we do.
Dan, these OTAs are voluntary for the veterans, but basically everybody's here. What does that show you about the buy-in and the commitment already from the vets?
Yeah, I think it shows how important it is. They know they're starting, a new program together, new offense, new defense, new special teams, and so no one wants to be behind, and have anything that would, leave them any space as we're competing going forward. So I'm not surprised knowing this group as I do, their connection, their chemistry together. That's a big part of it too.
Certainly for the players, it's an adjustment to get used to you, to get
Yes.
used to the coaching staff, but it's also an adjustment for the coaching staff to get used to the players. How's that all meshing?
I think the term you'll hear me say is they're trying to learn the learners. And so what way does this person learn compared to what place this person does? And not everybody does it in the same space. Not everybody does it in the same exact way. So there's some fantastic teachers that are over here on the grass. Who needs more walkthrough? Who needs more video? Who needs more one-on-one? When you're learning that, now you can customize it, and that's what we're going to do.
Dan, over the weekend, you wore a T-shirt to your availability that garnered some attention. I wonder if you could walk through what that was.
Sure, no sweat at all. And I think one of the parts of me, taking this job, I was excited to bridge, the past and the present, and what a cool, privilege that is to do. And I also recognized there's a lot of layers to that. So it was a great lesson for me. And what I really hate is that any attention that would have been taken away from these rookies and like this awesome crew. So, no one wants to do that, but great lesson.
Any feedback with the shirt from, I heard a lot of former players really liked that you wore the shirt. Did you get any feedback from folks?
Nope.
Okay.
Hey, Kliff. Obviously, we're all getting a first look at what you guys are doing out there. When it comes to the drills and the practices, how much? What's your main goal with what you're trying to accomplish, particularly with the quarterbacks?
We just want to make everybody the best they can be in the room. I think DQ's been preaching competition the entire time, and so all those drills are just set up for us to get game-type reps and improve as players. And that's how it's set up. That's what we've talked about, and those guys have done a good job kind of straining in every drill.
The fact that you have Jaden, how much did that change anything you were looking to do, or just, hey, this is what we do, and we're just going to, knowing his skill set, we'll just go forward?
Yeah, year in, year out, based on your personnel, you're always trying to maximize your personnel play to your strengths, and so we'll see what we have. We're just getting to know the guys, but once we figure that out, we'll build our offense around who we have and try to put the best product out there we can.
It's early, but what do you think of Jaden so far?
He's intentional in everything he does, which I like. That's what we had heard about him coming up, and that's what he's been since he's been here. He's been focused, intentional, and got to work. So that's been fun to be around.
What do you like about Luke McCaffrey?
I really like his story. He dealt with some adversity and kept fighting, and bless you. And he loves football, loves it. He doesn't care if he plays quarterback, running back, whatever. He just wants to play, and that's fun to be around. Really smart, same type deal. I mean, he's up there all hours of the day trying to learn and trying to get it down. And every drill we do, he's full speed, so you can work with that.
And having been with Zach Ertz in Arizona, I mean, what does he bring to the tight ends room, not only on the field but in helping some of the younger guys?
He's really embracing that role. I think at this stage in his career, he's had such an incredible career, and we got some bright young prospects in that room. And so watching him help coach him, he knows he's a great player. He knows what he can do. So he's very secure in his role and who he is at this point in his career. And so that's been awesome to see him kind of leave his legacy with those guys, with how he treats them, how he works with them, how he coaches them up.
What's your process for building and installing your offense?
Yeah, I think every stop, it's been different. The one major thing I try to do is make sure this was year one of the Commanders' offense, not year 5 of the Arizona Cardinals. So you want to start back with a real base install and then build it and grow it and go from there.
And what kind of a learner is Jaden?
He works really hard at it. So we've only had him a couple of days, but he works really hard at it. And what I liked most probably about the college tape is just the drastic improvement you saw year in, year out. I mean, that shows that the guy's putting in the work and studying and doing those things you have to do to try and be great.
Coach, can you share some early thoughts on your running back room and kind of what your early impressions are of those guys?
It's been awesome. B-Rob has a certain joy about him. I'm sure y'all been around him, just playing the game, always smiling, always into it, high energy, high effort, like walkthroughs are like full speed for him. And then Austin, just an underdog story that came in, became, one of the best running backs in the league, really, when you're talking about being able to do it all. So they really complement each other well. They feed off each other, and so we're really excited about that room.
And then a lot of guys have really kind of talked about your willingness to take their input and kind of help fold that in. Can you just kind of talk about your theology behind being that kind of a leader?
Yeah, I think I learned a quote a while back, good ideas know no rank. And so if you got a good idea, I want to hear it. It's not always going to go in, and they know that, but I'm going to listen to it. And a lot of times these guys have been other places, whether it's San Fran or Philly or somewhere where they've had a lot of success. And if there's a better way to do it, I'm all about it.
We all see Jaden putting in the work at practice, throwing, but what are some of the things that we don't see that really impress you about Jaden?
Yeah, like I said, just everything he does is intentional. He has a plan for studying, he has a plan for practice, has a plan for watching film. Like he knows what he wants to be and where he wants to go, and to be that young and come in there with that mindset is really encouraging.
Dan talked about mentorship, veterans to the players, coaches to the players. Who's taking on that role with Jaden?
We got a bunch of former quarterbacks, on the offense, whether it's Brian, Tavita, myself, David Blau, and then we got Marcus, who's played a lot of years and been a starter in the league for a lot of years. So I think all of us are really excited to work with him, and any pointers, tips, things we can help him grow and expedite the process, we're definitely here for it.
How do you make sure when you have all those guys who can give that input that you're not overloading with input or making sure that the message is what you need it to be?
Yeah, you just make sure they're the right guys, smart guys. We meet every day, talk through things. We're going to cover this, that, and the other, have a great plan, and go out there and put it together.
And then with guys like Austin and Zach, what kind of little things can they impart to the group out here?
Yeah, they've seen the highs and lows. They've seen the good teams, the bad teams, and so just talking through what a good team looked like, what their standards were, their practices, how guys worked, and then the teams that could have been good and weren't, what were the pitfalls with that. So they've all been really good as far as sharing that, been open and been leaders, which is not easy to do when you come into a new place, but they really embraced it, and I think the guys have embraced them.
You've been through this before. When you see rookies come in, what do you see in their eyes the first time they see your playbook and what has to be done?
Yeah, I mean, it's a new world, there's no doubt, but they're here for a reason. They have worked their entire life to be here, and that's what I talk about. It's like you worked your entire life to be here, but you get one time to make a first impression. So put in the work, make sure you have no regrets when you leave here, whether it's training camp or after training camp, or you make the team, play 12 years, have no regrets through this process. And I've been really pleased with how the rookie class so far has approached it.
And you've been a head coach, you've been other places. The vibe here, we've all been here and seen the downtimes. What's the vibe you're getting from your entire staff?
Yeah, DQ sets the tone, DQ and AP. They want to bring positive energy, high energy, want these guys to want to be in the building and do the best job we can coaching. And so that definitely trickles down to all of us assistants and all the players. And so I've been really pleased and been really happy to be here and be around those guys because of the tone they've set in the building.
Did the hat work today, by the way, for the rain?
There's still UV rays, so that's what it was for, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Spring practice warm-up. You seem to be as enthusiastic as anyone in that. What does that bring to the table? How does that kind of get practice moving, and what's important about it?
Yeah, it just sets the tone. I mean, if you can go out there and the first thing you're doing is having energy and going crazy and getting guys going, then, anybody else can do it as well. So DQ really encourages that. He wants to set the tone with that drill, and it's been fun. I think, if I remember a head coach again, I'll definitely do that.
Adam said that fairly early on he had a sense that Jaden was going to be the guy, or at least earlier than the public knew. When for you, did you kind of sense that, and how was that process of figuring out who you got at that?
Yeah, it was awesome working with those two guys. I was along for the ride. It was cool for me because when I was in Arizona, he was at ASU, so I'd been following him. I was so impressed. I remember him beating Oregon and like a true freshman doing what he's doing. But this was AP's deal, and he had a good feel for it, and I felt very strongly as well, so it worked out.
You mentioned that you got to kind of go slow, and this is year one of the installation. How do you navigate not going too fast and keeping the speed right with a young quarterback?
Yeah, that's the hard part. Over 4 years, like when we first got Kyler, it didn't start out what it ended up year 4, year 3. It was like we did things that we felt he could be really successful at, and then try to build and let him grow and us grow together. And we wanted to make sure I didn't start at some point that would overwhelm anybody. And I think that's, as an OC, that's always a tricky part. You have a lot of good stuff that you've collected over the years. You got to make sure it's simple enough that guys can have confidence and build and grow together.
Do you have everything that you want to use, and you'll pare things away or figure out what to accentuate with him, or is it something where you'll come up with something new throughout this process?
A little of both, yeah. We'll continue to take ideas, and if there's stuff that he was really good at in college, that's to me a good starting point to build off that and get that comfort level going early and taking it from there.
I know it's early, but are there some things in the playbook where he maybe is a little bit further ahead than you would have anticipated at this point?
Yeah, his football IQ is really high. I think protections, I've been really impressed by that. A lot of guys coming in to the league, that's not a area that they major in college. They don't have a lot of time. It's 4 hours per day. They have rules, but he's really well versed in the protections, and he works at it.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I think Coach Kelly, Coach Sloan there at LSU. Coach Kelly is phenomenal offensive mind, always has been. He's very demanding, coaches him hard, and you can tell that Jaden bought into that and really studied it because he's farther ahead definitely than I thought.
He's trying to be a sponge, but has he also, because of who he is, come to you and said, look, there's something that I like and we could do?
Yeah, we're working through that part. I've always told those guys, if you like it, tell me. If you don't like it, tell me. I think it's the best play in the world. If you don't like it, it's not going to work. And that's kind of the relationship I want to have with those guys. And as we get more comfortable together, I think we'll have that type of dialogue.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank y'all.
You remember these days, right?
Yeah, I do.
Rookie coming in last year. So what have you seen, and what do you see in the faces of these rookies?
They coming in competing, honestly. They're learning the defense, learning the playbook, and we just trying to bring them all in and bring them along.
What do you think about this whole new vibe, new coaching staff? What are some of the differences you've already noticed?
We just honestly competing. We're creating a brotherhood, and we just getting to know each other and getting to know the plays better. So yeah.
The coaches specifically, what have you noticed?
They're intense. They demand perfectness, and we just gotta come out and compete.
Emmanuel, for you after last year, what are you coming in here trying to work on just in the spring right now?
Honestly, just trying to get the playbook down, just getting the in and out of the defense. And, it's a new defense, so just trying to learn it better, Do
you feel for you, last year was obviously a tough year for you, do you feel like this is a kind of a fresh start for you?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a fresh start, fresh coaches, new players, and then just a fresh start.
Obviously, it's really early, but just with your new coaches, you got a lot of guys with secondary experience. How have you kind of felt with the rapport with them? What do you think they're going to be able to help you with this year?
Oh, yeah, they just helping me learn the ins and outs of corner, honestly, and just the small details of NFL routes and things like that. So they help me out a lot.
And in terms of the secondary overall, like you guys have a lot of different pieces. Like some guys are gone, like Kendall. How's it like all these new faces and just trying to figure each other out?
We just got to honestly just come in and do our job. We just got to compete, honestly.
What's it like learning the new playbook? What are you trying to do to get that down?
It's pretty simple, honestly. We have means and watching film and things like that. So it's just learning the ins and outs, like I said, and just learning it.
What do you think about your new quarterback, Jahan Daniels? What have you seen?
So I played him in college, and I know him a little bit. He's a great guy and a great player, honestly. Just waiting to see him go.
So you played against him in college. What are some of his strengths as a DB, your perspective?
He has a great deep ball. He's obviously good with his legs also, and his progression is pretty good, so yeah. He can run the ball really good.
From the outside looking in, your organization, you watched all the changes taking place in the offseason. What were you thinking when you saw what was taking place with the new GM, new coach, all of that?
I was very excited that we hired Dan Quinn, and I like my defense coordinator, corners coaches, and all that. So it was big, honestly.
Anything
with him, Joe Witt, during last year, the draft process?
Oh, yeah, I had a top 30 there, and they liked me a lot, and I liked them a lot, honestly, and the way they coach things and handle things, so yeah. Thank you.
All right, so your initial impressions of the vets and the rookies working together?
Man, blessing. I'm even myself, man, being in the room with Bobby, trying to pick his mind and, where I can see to be better at my game. You know, it's just a blessing to work around everybody. And then we got the rookie, man. Bringing him along, we're going to need everybody. You know, it's going to be a long season, and we're going to need everybody to be on board.
What do you immediately notice about Bobby?
Man, the dude is it's like a treasure box, man. Like, you never know what kind of, you know, you're going to get with him, you know. But, man, he's just real at the end of the day. You know, he's just always there trying to help the young guys and also myself, but the team as well. So,
Frankie, what are your early impressions of the playbook, scheme, just getting after it so far?
Sorry, you said it again? Sorry.
What are your early impressions of the playbook and the scheme?
Oh, it's fun, man. They got us flying around, playing fast, not thinking too much. And I think, you know, that's the main goal. You know, having us on defense, just be on one side and then flying to the ball all 11. Just going to, you know, have us where we want to go.
And being on the other side with Jaden Daniels, just what have you seen from him so far?
Man, I haven't seen a lot of him because, you know, we're kind of split up from today. You know, but, you know, I seen this tape, man. Can't see the rookie to take us.
What are your impressions of kind of the speed and the enthusiasm in practice, and you know all the noise and all the coaches kind of wanting to keep things moving and going fast?
Yeah, man, it's all about energy. You know, it's gonna be a long season, but like I said, man, all we got is all we need, and that type of environment you want to keep around us. You know, and everyday DQ and the whole coaching staff and the whole operation have us coming into it with the right mindset and leading to it.
DQ has a reputation of moving guys around, really versatile players. How much do you hope you get a really versatile role, and what all could that include?
Man, wherever you put me at. You know, I told DQ, man, just put me wherever you want me to be. You know, and I'm gonna pursue whatever position I'm gonna be at and move on forward from it, man. But just a blessing to be around the guys, man. That's all I am.
What in particular have you learned from Bobby already, whether it's study or anything like that?
Big thing is about his habits, you know, his routine. He's big on routine, how he take care of his body, how he watch tape, how he's eating. And, you know, it makes me, like, you know, year 7, looking at that, man, like, man, he's doing it at a high level right now. Why not stick to that?
So is there something you've already incorporated into your routine because of that?
Well, just a lot more of, you know, after field work, you know, after practice, I'll get, you know, things that I'm not good at or trying to get work on. I'll stay back and work with him on that.
Anything in particular?
I mean, just more knowing the splits of receivers, knowing where I'm out on the field, situational football.
Cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more. Sorry, just the buy-in from the vets, from the rookies. I mean, this is technically voluntary, right? OTAs, but everybody's here buying in, putting in the work. What does that show?
Man, it shows a lot of guys just, you know, buying in and having the main goal. You know, keeping the main thing, and having all guys here says a lot, man. You know, it's voluntary, like you said, but having guys out here, man, it's going to take us where we want to be, you know, and we put in the work now for later.
All right, thanks, Frankie.
Appreciate y'all.
Impressions of being around this new group, new teammates, but new coaching staff in particular.
Yeah, it's been fun. Getting to know all my new teammates, new staff members. The building looks a lot different now. So being able to get to know them in these early weeks of OTAs has been really fun.
Was that energy, was there just a different energy, and how badly was that needed?
Yeah, it has been a completely different energy from the second we kind of walked into the first team meeting. Coach Quinn really emphasized that, you know, we're really a team. We got to come together as soon as possible so we can make things happen when the games roll around in the regular season. So it's been really good energy, really good vibes around the building, and it's really exciting times.
And for first impressions of Jaden.
Oh yeah, he's great. I don't know if I can say this, but that's the quarterback that I wanted. But yeah, I was happy when we drafted him. I'm really looking forward to building a relationship with him, furthering our relationship as I've known him in the past. But you know, he's been good so far. He's only been here a couple days now, but yeah, he has big things coming for him. So I've known him since I was coming out in the draft. We were training together before he transferred to LSU when we were down in Arizona. So we built a little relationship there. And then, yeah, I kept up with him while he was at LSU. Obviously, he was the best player in college football last year. So, yeah, it was really cool that we got to team up and go at it this year.
What kind of a teacher is Quinn?
He's really good. He makes us feel comfortable. And that's a big thing, I would say, for myself. Being able to feel comfortable in the routes that I'm able to run. He really helps us play to our strengths. That's really what you want in a coach, someone who knows your capability and what you can do on the field and tries to maximize it. And I feel like he does a great job of that.
What do you think of the offense he's putting in?
Yeah, he's making it very simplistic for us right now. And that's really nice, as we're going to build on it during the season, obviously. But right now, we're kind of getting the basics of the offense, and we're kind of moving slow with it, but having a sense of urgency while learning it. So it's been really fun, and going against the defense now, doing 7-on-7 periods is pretty cool.
How different a feel is this season?
Yeah, so far it's a lot different. Both when you have new coaching staffs, there's always a lot of positive energy at first. But right now I feel like the coaches are doing a great job with the morale of the team, making sure that every day we walk into the building, we walk in with a purpose, everyone. It seems like everyone has a smile on their face all day. So it's honestly contagious. It's really great vibes around the building, and it makes you really exciting for what we have planned this year.
Jahan, obviously building that chemistry between a quarterback and a receiver is of the utmost importance. What's the fastest way for you and your core to be able to do that with whoever your quarterback is?
Yeah, I would say building a relationship outside of the football field. Getting to know each other, getting to know what your quarterback likes to do, and then just talking through things in the film room. What I feel like the ultimate, thing that will get us clicking the fastest is reps. Reps out on the field is probably the best way that we're going to build a connection.
In terms of this offseason, how do you think about your season last year? What do you take away from that to build on this offseason?
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of my season last year. So I went really hard at it this offseason, making sure that I'm better than I was last year, a lot better, because I have really high expectations for myself, and I hold myself to a very high standard. So I've been at it since about February. So I'm really excited, and I come in every day and just try to put the work in so that I can reap the benefits.
What were you happy about last year?
My overall play. I just didn't feel like myself, but yeah, I'm starting to feel like getting my swagger back a little bit. So I'm getting really excited.
All right, thanks, John. Last one, Nikki.
Yeah, shout out to my coach, Coach Joey, strength coach at FAU. He was helping me get right this offseason, just building my play strength, getting faster, and then I'm going to work on just running routes and stuff, obviously coming up this summer. So it's going to be
Being
good.
out here and with these guys.
Yeah, I've loved every minute of it, honestly. I feel like I got a renewed sense on life being out here. It's been a lot of fun. Obviously going into year 12, I've seen a lot of coaches. I've been a part of a lot of programs, and this is one that I'm extremely excited to be here, fortunate to be here. And so, yeah, it's been great.
Is there something different about this one?
There's many layers, obviously. I don't know if I want to dive into all of them, but I think the ownership that he's putting on the players, Coach Quinn is putting on the players to really mold this to our image and how we want this thing to go. It's really going to be something that the players are able to hold each other, I would say, accountable to. The standards are very clear. And also the energy. Every coach. It's not just one coach bringing juice. All the coaches have it. It's almost like a prereq. Every morning they have their little staff meeting and say, how much energy are we going to bring today? So it's been fun. It's been really fun to be a part of. And just the guys that they've brought in as well. Really good people first, and obviously really good football players.
You said year 12. You got a quarterback who's going into year .1.
Yeah.
Your early impressions of Jaden Daniels?
Yeah, obviously we're just getting to know each other. But right off the bat, you can tell he's an extremely talented player. The talent kind of jumps out at you when you're out on the field with him. The arm talent is there. But also he really, really cares about this thing. He wants to be as good as he can possibly be. He's working his butt off. I know he's doing a lot behind the scenes to make himself as prepared as possible, working with as many coaches as he can. And so I've been really impressed so far.
And a Kliff Kingsbury offense, what are your early impressions?
I've been in this offense before, so my impressions are that they're a little different than with some of the stuff we did in Arizona. But overall, we always want to be on the attack. He wants to put guys in situations to be successful. He's not going to ask any of us to do something that we're not comfortable with or really good at. And so he's going to maximize our potential as individuals, and then it's up to us to go make plays.
DQ talked about mentorship with the veterans and the rookies. Obviously, you're a vet. You've been through the fires. How are you trying to take that leadership role to like a Ben or a Cole, the younger guys in that locker room?
I mean, I think I just try, and it's not like I'm out there holding their hand by any means. I try and pull them aside and say, hey, this is how I would maybe do this. This is what I think you can maybe work on. But first, you got to have a personal relationship with someone. Know that I care about them. It's not just me being the salty vet that's out there trying to tell them what to do every play, because they got a coach for that. I'm just trying to help them in any way I can. It's something that at this stage in my career, I think I've taken a lot more pride in now than maybe I did when I was younger. And so I'm just trying to maximize this team. Anyone I can help, not only tight ends, but any skill position player, even a defensive guy that I think he could do this a little better. He's giving me a tell. I want to be as open as possible, because that's what guys are going to remember. People aren't going to remember my stats, my yards, my catches when I'm done. Hopefully they remember the relationships that I have with them, and so that's what I'm trying to develop.
This franchise is trying to build a winning culture. You've been to the mountaintop. What are some of those key ingredients to build that culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think it all starts on the practice field, honestly. You got to have your best players be your hardest workers. You got to be able to go out there and practice extremely hard, and not just one time a week, but you got to consistently demand excellence on the practice field, and I think I would say we're laying the groundwork for that. The best teams I've been a part of have been the hardest working teams. And so I think that starts at the top with not only the guys that they bring in, AP brings in, and Dan kind of sets the standard, but the vets got to set the leadership, how this thing is going to go. And we're going to push each other to be the best version of ourselves that we can.
What differences have you seen in this offense here versus in Arizona?
I mean, we're at the base level right now, obviously. We've only been here for a month, so it's very I would say there's a lot of carryover, but as we get going, as we get into more of a game plan, I'm sure it's going to change here and there. But this offense has been successful in this league, so it's not like he needs to come in, Kliff, and revamp this whole thing. He's had success in this league. Obviously, we didn't accomplish our ultimate goals in Arizona of winning the Super Bowl, but we're hoping to do that here.
What kind of a teacher is he, and is it different for him being an OC versus a head coach when you're with him before?
I mean, I think everyone changes as they go. Obviously, Arizona was a unique experience for him, for myself. And I know we're both extremely excited to be here. We definitely have a chip on our shoulder, I do at least. And he's definitely teaching a lot. He's excited to work with the quarterbacks. You can feel his energy each and every day that he's out there with the guys. I think he's just, all of us are excited to be here.
You talked about the chip on your shoulder for Kliff coming back to the NFL. DQ's talked repeatedly about getting a second chance at being a head coach. Is that like a community vibe? Like how does everybody reflect that a little bit with this group?
You mean the chip on the shoulder mentality?
Yeah,
almost?
just the whole team almost.
I mean, we all have a story, right? We've all been either doubted or whatever it is. Even Jaden transferred, I don't know the story in college, but he started at ASU, ended up at LSU. Even though he was a second overall pick, I'm sure he overcame some extreme adversity in his life. And so how do you muster that into positive energy instead of negative energy? And for me, obviously, this is my third team, essentially. And so I do have a chip on my shoulder. Last year didn't go the way I wanted it to. The last year in Arizona didn't go the way I wanted it to by any means. And so I can only speak for myself, obviously. But you learn all those things. They're almost scars per se, and you feel them every day, and they craft your mentality. They craft your identity. And obviously my faith is a big part of me. But also I feel like that experience has changed my outlook, and I'm extremely excited for this year.
Another probably too early question, but Ben Sinnott coming in. Any early thoughts on him, and how do you guys kind of see the pieces you have all kind of fitting together?
I mean, yeah, like you said, it's very early. I saw him for a day, essentially, today, and we were in two different fields for most of it. But, I mean, obviously, they really like him. He was a second-round pick for a reason. I was a second-round pick, so obviously, hopefully, he can have an amazing career. I'm here to help him in any way I can. Colson is a heck of an athlete as well. And we got a lot of young, talented tight ends in the room. I'm kind of the guy that wants to be a voice in their ear if they have questions or if they have anything that they want to bounce off me. But it's my job to be the best version of myself first and also help build them up as well. Yep, thank you guys.
Oh, it's great. Being able to come here every day and just having these group of guys here, they bring a different energy for sure. Very positive, very going, driven just energy overall. So it's been good coming to work and being around this group of guys and really enjoying it.
One thing you talked about was how you wanted to get the run game back going. Anthony Lynn comes in with certainly that reputation. How excited are you that even though it's a new quarterback and a new OC that you guys should be running the ball differently?
Yeah, like I said last year, me personally, I just love the balance of football. So, I mean, like I said, this is a pass-heavy league, but, you always need to run the ball to complement the pass. So, I'm excited for the system. I think it's going to be a great system, and I think all the tools that we brought in and the guys that we brought in are great. I mean, he just got here, still learning, still seeing him, but saw his stuff at LSU. Guy has wheels, so we have stuff built in for that. So I'm excited for that.
What has really stood out most to you about what's going on right now out here?
I would say just everybody's so driven for success. Our mindset is to be champions, and I think to emphasize that weight more, and that's what we're doing. Building a standard here. That's what we've been focusing on. A standard when we're on the field or off the field that we can hold each other accountable each and every day. Hey, man, I see you need to finish that block, or you need to wrap up and finish that tackle, or do this technique, or do that. Being a cowboy, we want to go, hey, pick up your stuff, pick up your trash. That little things around building are huge. So if we can hold to that standard, that's the standard we're building right now, it'll be huge.
How do you feel about just the group you guys have together up front? I know there's been a number of changes there. How do you feel about the new guys coming in, just the depth you guys have, et cetera? Yeah, I mean, we've brought in a couple of really good guys. We all gel really well together. So, I was telling the guys today, it's like a mushroom society. We grow in the darkness. So we're just growing this, bond and everything like that together, and I'm loving it. And like I said, we brought in a really, really top tier guys.
These OTAs are technically voluntary, right? The vets don't have to be here, but everybody's here competing, putting in the work. What does that show in the long run?
It just shows people are bought in. It's a whole new coaching staff and everything's new and new playbook from both sides. So, it's important to be around the guys and build those relationships, and not only with the players but the coaches as well. That's one thing I really look forward to, is that we have a open communications player to coach, which I think is huge. We're all here trying to work towards the same goal, which is winning. And so if we were able to communicate across the building, not only offensively but defensively, like today, for example, I'm in my three-point stance and I'm pulling, and Bobby Wagner goes, "Hey, watch his pulling." I'm like, "What the heck?" How did the heck? I was trying to disguise that, and I went up to him, "Hey, what'd you see?" "You were leaning." Stuff like that. It's great. So little things like that. So yeah, that's things that I'm noticing and enjoying.
What have been your impressions of Bob Johnson so far?
Again, we're very communicative. He's gonna really harp on the details, and we are. One thing I really love is that we're able to talk back and forth and have that open communication. And he's really big on how a play or a scheme is hitting our head as players, because we're doing it. And so that, like I said, the open communication is huge. So I've been enjoying building a relationship with everything about that.
Nicky talks about all the new bodies here, but a lot of the new bodies are guys who have been in the league for a little while. Not as much youth on the interior than online. Are you noticing that kind of in meetings or practices yet, or is it just kind of early in that process to start seeing the guys kind of are a little further along in the careers?
Yeah, I mean, we have, especially our unit, we have a ton of guys that have a lot of years underneath their belt. So that's the beauty of it, being able to go in there and, hey man, I know this, I know how to block this way, how do you like blocking that way, and different things like that. And like the young guys, we're able to take our knowledge and just pass it down. So, I think that's great for that aspect of it. But when it comes to just our unit, we have a ton of guys in a lot of units.
Sam, I've heard you say open communication with the players and the coaches a couple of times now. Was that missing previously, and what kind of a difference does that make?
Yeah, I mean, that was missing a little bit, I would be honest with you. When it comes to this game, you always hear it's about the details. It's about the inches. It comes down to inches. So how do you do that? if you're able to communicate across the ball or across with your coaches and being like, hey, I'm on the field, I'm experiencing this, you're visualizing it. How can we communicate to be like, hey, how can I put myself in the best position to win a block or to make that catch or to hit that hole right, or make that tackle. So like all those things, being able to communicate across the board is just huge. It really is.
You've been in this building for several years. Is this the best you've felt just in general in terms of the team, the direction, like just everything?
I mean, Tress said it best. I'm sure everybody saw that, him giving that number. I mean, that was a great and honorable thing to do. And so he said it best, that this is just a different vibe here. It's a vibe that's just, I personally haven't experienced, and Tress has been here way longer than I have, so, and he's feeling it too. So we're all hyped, we're all very excited, the vibes are high, very optimistic, and looking forward to what this year has in store.
Awesome. Thanks, Sam.